My father was imprisoned in the Buchenwald concentration camp. He was born in Germany in 1922 as what the Nuremberg laws, those odious racial laws, classified him as a Jew of the second degree because one of his parents was Jewish. He was also very active in the anti-Hitler political movement. So for both of those reasons, he was thrown into the Buchenwald forced labor camp, and he was literally scheduled to be sterilized because the Nazis had a program of eugenicide in addition to direct genocide. And one day before his appointment to be sterilized, Buchenwald was liberated by the American military. So I always like to thank them when I speak to military audiences. I owe my life as well as my liberty to the U.S. military. So I could not loathe the Nazis more. Many other extended members of my father's family were slaughtered, as were, my husband is also the son of Holocaust survivors. If I believed that censorship would have prevented the Nazis' rise to power or the Holocaust, I would have been in favor of it. I mean, no free speech absolutist, which means very strong defender, absolutely, unqualifiedly, without exception, defends free speech. We simply say that those who want to suppress it have a very heavy burden of proof. They have to show that the suppression is necessary in order to promote some countervailing goal of great importance. And if I were convinced that suppressing speech would have been even effective, let alone necessary, to prevent the Nazis from coming to power, I would have been in favor of censorship. But the historic record shows exactly the opposite. Nazis and other hate mongers were subject to very tough anti-hate speech laws in the Weimar Republic, during which Hitler rose to power. They were prosecuted, they were convicted, they served time, and obviously that didn't stop their rise to power. Conversely, these trials became propaganda platforms for them, where they gained attention and sympathy that they otherwise would never have received.
And on a personal level, so in the documentary, and for those of you who haven't seen it, please go check it out. Ira has this contentious relationship with a survivor of the Holocaust who lives in Skokie. This is a man who lost, I think, everyone in his family and managed to squeak by and survive. Just an incredible, harrowing story. And Ira has to explain to this man why he is defending the right of people who would happily, reignite the ovens, and destroy, more Jewish people. He has to explain to him why he's holding to this principle. And did you ever have to do that with your own family, with your own father? Were those arguments there?
Yes, but I would say for my father and I still have some surviving relatives in Germany. It's more a general skepticism about the importance of free speech than none of them has contended that censorship would have been effective in preventing the Nazis from coming to power. And I think what's also interesting is if you look at Germany today, it continues to have extremely strict anti-censorship or anti-hate speech laws, and yet anti-Semitic violence and violence against refugees and immigrants is extremely high in Germany. There's at least as much more serious problem than there is in the United States. So those hate speech laws clearly are not doing the job to prevent the problems.